All right, so let's just jump right into it because if you're listening, you probably already know the frustration. You've got this amazing 4K source, a beautiful screen, but they're, I don't know, 100 feet apart. A standard HDMI cable is just not going to cut it. You'll get sparkles or worse, just nothing.
Yeah, it's that classic bandwidth versus distance problem. Copper just has its limits.
And running fiber can be, a huge expense. So today we're looking at a solution in the middle ground, the Kramer TP-789RxR. It's an HDBaseT receiver, and it claims to solve this exact problem. But what is this box actually doing that a simple cable can't?
Well, it's fundamentally changing how the signal is sent. An HDMI cable signal just gets weaker and weaker over distance. HDBaseT takes all that uncompressed video, audio, and control data, and it packetizes it.
Kind of like how a computer network operates.
Exactly. This receiver paired with a transmitter just pushes those packets over a standard twisted pair copper cable.
Okay, let's talk specs then, because there's always a catch. I'm seeing here it can handle 4K at 60 hertz up to 100 meters, which is 330 feet.
330 feet.
That's impressive. But I see this little note next to it, 4.2.0. What's that about?
Ah, yeah. Good catch. That is the trade-off.
A trade-off.
Right. To push a 4K signal that far over copper, you're working within a certain bandwidth limit. So it uses what's called 4.2.0 chroma subsampling.
Okay, so in English, what does that actually mean for my picture?
For most video content, we're talking movies, presentations, digital signage. Honestly, your eye won't even notice the difference. All the brightness information is there, but the color information is just slightly compressed.
So it's not for, say, pixel-perfect medical imaging.
Exactly. But for a lecture hall or a corporate boardroom, it's perfectly fine.
And what happens if we drop the resolution down from 4K?
Then you unlock what they call HDBase Ultra mode.
Yeah.
If you only need 1080p, this thing can push that signal a staggering 180 meters.
180 meters? That's
Yeah.
almost 600 feet.
Nearly 600 feet. It's a huge distance.
That is massive. But I'm guessing you can't just use some cheap Cat5e cable you found in a closet for that to work.
Oh, definitely not. And that's probably the biggest mistake installers make. To reliably hit those distances, you really need Kramer's own copper cables or at least a high-quality shielded Cat6a.
The pipes matter.
They matter just as much as the box itself.
Okay, so speaking of the install, we've solved the video problem. We have a signal at the projector, which is 300 feet away up in the ceiling. But now this little receiver box needs power. Do I have to call an electrician to put an outlet up there in the rafters?
And this is where the TP-789RxR gets really clever. It has something called bidirectional PoE.
Bidirectional, how is that different from, standard power over Ethernet?
Well, usually a device is either a power provider or a power consumer. It's one or the other. This unit is auto-sensing. It actually checks the line. So if you have a big PoE matrix switcher in your rack that's sending power down the line, this receiver just accepts it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if you have a simple, unpowered wall plate at the other end that needs power, this receiver can actually provide it.
So it's agnostic. It just figures out if it needs to push or pull power.
It just wants to close the circuit. It simplifies the installation so much because you aren't hunting for outlets in a drop ceiling.
Which brings me to the physical box itself. If it's living in a ceiling, is heat an issue? Or noise from a fan?
Nope, it's fanless. It has this solid aluminum Digitools enclosure, so it's all convection cooling, totally silent.
That's a huge plus. Nothing worse than a quiet presentation with a fan humming overhead. So we've covered video and power, but HDBase is always sold on this idea of convergence. What else is riding on that single cable?
Pretty much everything you need for control. You get bidirectional RS-232 and IR, plus 100 megabit Ethernet.
And audio.
The audio is completely untouched. It handles up to 32 channels of uncompressed digital stereo. Studio-grade stuff.
So my one Cat6a cable is now my video, my audio, my power, my internet, and my control line.
One cable becomes your entire infrastructure backbone.
Wow. And looking at the price, we're seeing it for around, $432 discounted?
Which, for a professional install, that's a solid value. You're saving the cost of an electrician, and you're avoiding the much higher cost of fiber.
It really puts the focus back on something we tend to forget. We obsess over the screen. Is it 8K? Is it OLED? But we don't give enough thought to the actual pipes that are getting the content there in the first place.
Exactly, because without a reliable transport layer, the best screen in the world is just an expensive blank slate.
A good reminder to check your infrastructure. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.